You know, to be honest, I really don't know why I'm making this video because I truly couldn't tell you what happened in this series. I mean, oh boy. So I'm gonna review or talk about or just say words on The Leftovers Season 1, which finished tonight. There's going to be a Season 2, and I'm going to be going into spoilers. I'm going to be going over the whole series sort of as a whole, and I'm kind of just going to talk a good portion about tonight because that's the most important thing of the season, like wrapping things up. And let's see, how do I even start this? Oh my god. The Leftovers is a show about a town, well not a town, it's based in a town, but the entire world had 2% of its population taken a few years ago, and they just randomly disappeared one day and no one knows where they went, so certain things have started to happen, like there are cults forming up. There's one in the town called the Guilty Remnant, and they just wear white and they smoke and they stare at people, and then more people join them. And you basically follow the police chief, Kevin Garvey, who just kind of has to deal with all the chaos that sprouts out because of the Guilty Remnant and how other people are dealing with the situation, because it still has a lasting effect on people. And I wanted to watch the show because it looked interesting. I really wasn't sure what it was about. Like, from the trailers, you really couldn't tell that much about it. So I was interested in, you know, HBO, they generally put out good content, so I wanted to watch it. And I'm gonna be honest, the first episode of this series, I was not into it that much. I was on the edge of quitting, actually. I was like, yeah, because in the first episode, I remember a lot of the acting being weird, like, not weird, but just something was off to me. Aside from the main actor, Justin Theroux, who I thought did a good job throughout the entire series, I just felt like it was a little bit odd in the first episode. And the second episode was pretty much the same as the first episode. I remember liking it a little bit more, but the episode that really pulled me into this series was Christopher Eccleston's episode, which focused on his character, the priest I think he is, or a preacher, something like that. But his character had an entire episode dedicated to him where you followed him throughout his life and followed him trying to save his church before the Guilty Remnant got to it. But that whole episode had some really intense moments. It was really well acted. Christopher Eccleston does a great job with his character in that episode specifically and throughout the whole show, even though he isn't used as much as I thought he would be, like, going into the series. He's only in, like, a couple scenes other than his episode. Like, he's kind of in the background in each of the episodes. It was an up and down relationship with the show, because there's certain ideas of it that I really enjoyed. I really liked the Guilty Remnant overall. Like, I don't like them, but I liked seeing how people reacted to what they did and things like that. But there's also certain moments where it just gets so incredibly weird and like, what the fuck is going on, that it kind of pulls me out, because it's like, I know they're not going to explain what's going on here, and I don't know how to explain it myself, so I don't see how this is going to make sense. Certain moments in the series just do that to you, and there's a lot of moments like that in the series where you just have no idea what's going on, and it's really weird. And that's also something I like, that the show is weird and out there and different, but at the same time it kind of gets too much. I got kind of close to stopping again at Nora's episode because, look, I like her as a character, I do, but at the same time, that whole episode with her in New York and just someone stole her badge, I didn't feel like that was a strong episode. I felt like it was really boring. Most of the time, I really didn't care that much about what was going on because, like, there was almost no payoff in the episode. Because you just found out that that guy, he was able to make lifelike replications of people, which came into play later on in the season, but there really wasn't much going on in that episode that I cared about. Let's just skip forward a bit here, jump forward in time to, like, the last few episodes, because those are the ones I really want to talk about. Episode 8 was just so intense, because I honestly felt coming what was going to happen. That Patty was not leaving that cabin alive one way or another, and the way that went down was just so, God, like, you felt it coming, and then it happens, and you're like, how is this going to work? What's going to happen from here on out? And then the next week, I expect, like, oh, we're going to see what happens, right? No, we get a prequel episode. It gave you good insight on the characters as to what they were like beforehand. It shows almost everybody, and you get to see how they were before everybody got taken. and how their relationships were. So that was an interesting episode, even though I would have liked to have seen the fallout from episode 8 immediately. But we got to see that in the episode that aired tonight, and you got to see a lot in this episode tonight, because one thing I want to talk about that I haven't covered yet was Wayne's story, because when I first saw him, he was one of the things where I was like, wait, what is this? That's weird. I don't like that. Like in the first episode, I just didn't understand it, therefore I didn't like it, of course. So moving forward from that, like, he was sort of in the background for most of the time too, kind of like Matt, who was played by Eccleston. His whole plot line, I just, it's weird. Like, is he actually this godlike prophet? I don't think he is, but the way it ended in this episode, those guys who were attacking him in like the first few episodes finally got to him, and now he's dead, so okay. There's so much to cover with this show that I feel like I'm not even remotely scratching the surface here, so I don't know why I'm doing this. Let's just get to what we were building to here. The Guilty Remnant, they take all those lifelike creations of people and put them in the homes of the people that lost them. So yeah, that's not gonna go over well. So by the time Kevin Garvey shows up, everything's gone to shit. The entire town is in chaos. There's fires all over the place. They are killing the Guilty Remnant. They're beating them to shit in the streets. And everything's just going insane. And that whole sequence I thought was fantastic, because there was such a great intensity to it, and you were building to this moment for like basically the entire season, because you knew something was going to happen, and they were just going to push people over the edge, and it finally happened. And the chaos that ensued was just insane. And I like seeing how Kevin went to save his daughter from the Guilty Remnant. That's how I saw it, at least. She was stuck in there in that house, so he went to save her from them, and now she's going back home with him. And near the end of the episode, like, you didn't see Nora much in this last episode. You just saw her seeing her family and, like, just breaking down, which was a really sad moment. And just during her whole speech, I was thinking, oh no, she's gonna kill herself. And that's just, that would have been a big cliffhanger. But they didn't do that. They decided to go with her saying she's gonna leave and start anew, which I could also see based on what her character has gone through. The end of this episode, I just felt like would have been good as a series ender, because while it does leave a lot unanswered, I don't feel like we're ever going to get an actual explanation for how the people disappeared and a bunch of other things. Like, they kind of just show a bunch of weird things and they don't really explain it, which is something that does detract from the show, but I don't think they're going to explain it anyway, so it doesn't matter. But back to my point, Nora goes to Kevin's porch to give him that letter she wrote, and she sees the baby from Wayne, which his not son was carrying for most of the season. And the parallel I saw there was really interesting, because Nora picks the baby up, and I think it's pretty clear that she wants to raise that child now and just stay instead of go, which was a pretty big turn. Like, that was like a 180 turn immediately, but whatever. And then Kevin and his daughter walk up, and it's like he's back where he was with Lori, because it seems like that they're going to be together as a family now. So he has his family, he has his daughter, and he has this woman who has a child that is not his, that I guess they're going to raise now. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic moving forward. But what I'm trying to get to here is the fact that Season 2 is going to happen. They greenlit Season 2, and I don't see where they're going to go with this. I don't see how this is going to continue. Like, the Guilty Remnant's pretty much just destroyed now, so there's no antagonist for this town anymore. Are they just gonna have, like, the regular lives of these people now? Because, I mean, I don't know about that. I don't know, we'll see. But overall, The Leftovers is a good show. It's enjoyable. It's not the best show HBO has put out, and not even this year, because we had True Detective earlier this year. But it's still an enjoyable watch. It's a very weird and out there show with its images. It has pretty good acting all around. I did enjoy it. It gets slow at times, and there are certain episodes where I just didn't really care about the characters in them. But I would say overall it's worth a shot. Like, I would say watch till episode 3, and if you're not hooked after that, then just stop. I guess if I could rate this entire season, I would give it a B. It's enjoyable, like I said. So, if you guys have watched The Leftovers, what did you think of it? Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? Anything you want to talk about, rate me in the comments down there and tell me what you think. And if you like this video, hit that subscribe button down there, because if you don't, 2% of me is gonna disappear. By that, I'll shave my head, I guess.